Rain fell in silvery streaks over the shattered ruins of Outpost Vega 9. The once bustling research station now lay abandoned, reduced to nothing more than a ghost of twisted metal and forgotten experiments. The war had long passed this corner of space, leaving behind echoes and shadows. Among those shadows, hidden beneath the fractured dome of the old biodome, something ancient stirred. Corporal Jonas Hale moved cautiously, his flashlight sweeping across the moss-covered walls and debris. His orders were simple: retrieve any remaining research data, tag any salvageable tech, and leave. But nothing about Vega 9 was ever simple. Rumors of strange disappearances, whispers of something feeding off the soldiers that had tried to secure it. Most didn't believe them. Jonas did. He wasn't supposed to be alone, but a sudden solar flare had fried the communications of his recon team, and by the time they landed, Jonas had gotten separated. His headset buzzed with static as he moved deeper into the ruins, every creak and groan of the structure sounding like a threat. He paused near a corridor marked Bioclassified. The door had been pried open from the inside. Strange. Scorch marks were scattered along the floor, and the lights above flickered like dying stars. He took a breath and stepped through. The air changed, thicker, colder, and laced with something sweet and metallic. Blood? No, older than that. A scent like iron dust mixed with ancient roses. He reached for his sidearm, but didn't draw it. Something inside told him that aggression here would only awaken something worse. Then he saw her. She stood at the far end of the corridor, where vines and roots had burst through the walls. Her skin was the color of moonlight, her hair a cascade of midnight. She was clothed in a dark robe, part shredded, part elegant, as if time had forgotten to take it from her. Her eyes glowed faintly violet, not with anger, but with a strange, sorrowful hunger. Jonas froze. He knew what she was. "You're not supposed to be real," he whispered. Her voice was soft, melodic, and oddly calm. Neither are most things on Vega 9. She stepped forward, and Jonas, despite every order and instinct, did not raise his weapon. "You're not afraid," she noted. "I'm not stupid either," Jonas said. "You're not attacking me." "I have no need," she replied. "The last ones brought me food and fear. You bring curiosity and kindness." He took a tentative step forward. "You're a vampire, aren't you? Not like the legends. Something older. A life drinker, yes. But not the monster your myths described. Not anymore." Her eyes flickered. "You could have shot me. And yet here we are." She tilted her head. "What is your name, human?" "Jonas. Corporal Jonas Hale." "And you?" She hesitated. "My name is not one your kind could pronounce, but you may call me Sareva." He felt it then, some strange bond forming in the space between them. Not hypnotic, not seductive. Something deeper. Two survivors in a place long forgotten, speaking honestly in a world built on lies. "Why are you still here?" he asked. "They made me, grew me, studied me, but I was not what they hoped. When the war came, they left me locked in the dark. Alone." Jonas looked around the corridor, then back at her. "That was over a decade ago. I slept. I dreamed of light I had never seen. Then one day, I woke, and there was only silence." He didn't know why, but his next words came easily. "Do you want to leave this place?" She seemed surprised. "You would help me?" Jonas nodded. No one deserves to be forgotten in a cage. Not even a life drinker. For a long moment, she simply stared at him. Then, slowly, she reached into the folds of her robe and pulled out a glowing crystal, pulsing with ancient energy, clearly not human in origin. "This is my heartstone, my kind's legacy. It has power beyond your imagination. I give it to you, not as a weapon, but as a key." "A key to what?" "To a future where our destinies are tied, Jonas Hale. One act of kindness changes the path of stars." Jonas took the heartstone, its warmth spreading through his fingers like a pulse of trust. "But why me?" "Because out of all the soldiers, scavengers, and scientists who came through here, only you spoke without fear." The building rumbled above them, and his radio crackled to life. "Corporal Hale, do you copy? Extraction in 10 minutes. Prepare for evac." He looked up, then at her. "Come with me." She smiled. A quiet, fragile smile full of centuries of pain and hope. "You're certain the galaxy is ready to meet someone like me?" "No," Jonas said. "But it's about damn time." They walked side by side toward the landing pad, a human and a vampire woman, under broken stars. Neither of them knew it yet, but that simple act of kindness, his offer to help, her gift of trust, would ignite a chain of events that would shake the empires of space. And it all began because one human chose not to fear the dark. The transport ship, Crescent Star, lifted off from Vega 9 with a low hum, cutting through the planet's decaying atmosphere like a blade through silk. Jonas sat beside Sareva in the rear compartment, eyes glancing between her calm, regal posture and the confused stares of his crewmates. She wore a long, dark cloak draped over the remnants of her ancient garments, her strange violet eyes fixed on the stars beyond the small viewing port. No one spoke, not because they didn't want to, but because none of them had the words to describe what she was. Lieutenant Marin leaned toward Jonas, whispering, "What the hell is that thing?" Jonas replied evenly, "Her name is Sareva. She's not a threat. Not a threat. Hail, she looks like something from a nightmare. You know Command is going to dissect her the moment we land." Jonas met Marin's gaze. "Not if I have anything to say about it." Marin scoffed. "You think kindness will get you far in the core worlds? You're either useful, dangerous, or invisible. That's how it works." Jonas didn't answer. He looked back at Sareva, who was clearly listening. She said nothing, but her mouth curled into a knowing smile. She'd heard those words before. She'd lived through them. Back on Earth's orbital station, quarantine was the first step. Sareva was placed into a high-security isolation room under the watchful eye of armed guards, despite Jonas's protests. "They think I'm contagious," she said softly through the glass. "They're afraid of what they don't understand. And you are not." "No," Jonas said. "I've seen fear. You didn't give me that." Sareva placed her palm against the glass. "You have courage, Jonas Hale. But courage alone may not be enough to stop what's coming." "What do you mean?" She looked up. "You remember the Heartstone?" Jonas nodded. "It's not just a symbol of trust. It's a beacon. Others of my kind will sense it. Some will come for it. Some will come for me. And some," she paused, "will come for you." Jonas stood still, the words hanging heavy in the sterile air. 3 days later, he was summoned to Central Intelligence Command. The room was cold, clinical. On one side of the table sat Director Voss, a man known for his ruthless precision and his dislike for anomalies. Jonas was an anomaly now. "She's a biological weapon," Voss said bluntly. "A living remnant of a dead civilization. Do you know what the Dominion would do if they knew we harbored her?" Jonas kept his voice calm. "She didn't ask to be created. She just survived. We don't need sympathy. We need answers. That stone she gave you, it's radiating signals across multiple spectrums. We've already detected 2 foreign vessels moving in this direction. Maybe they're not hostile," Jonas suggested. Voss leaned forward. "And if they are? You're betting Earth's safety on a stranger you met in a ruin." "I'm betting on the only being who hasn't lied to me." Voss studied him. "You've been reassigned, Corporal. Your proximity to the subject makes you useful. You'll escort her to the Luno archives. High Council wants her scanned, studied, and sealed. And if I refuse, you won't. Because you know something bigger is coming. Don't you?" Jonas left the room without responding. But Voss was right. Something was coming. He could feel it in his bones. That night, in the secured wing of the orbital habitat, Sareva stood by the reinforced glass as Jonas approached. Her hair flowed around her like dark mist, but her expression was weary. "You heard," she said. "Yes. They want to use me. They want to understand you," he corrected, though even he didn't believe the words. She stepped back as the door unlocked. He entered the room slowly. "I've never trusted your kind," Sareva admitted. "But you confuse me." "Why?" "Because you ask for nothing. You protect without reason. You give without expectation. Among my people, that was considered a weakness." Jonas smiled slightly. "Among mine, it used to be considered strength." She held out her hand. "Then I offer you more." As her fingers touched his, the heartstone in his pocket ignited with a low pulse. Suddenly, a vision flashed before his eyes, a vast fleet in the void, dark spires, wings of lightless energy, voices speaking in languages he didn't understand. He stumbled back, breath ragged. "That is what follows the signal," she said. "My kind, the surviving clans, many are not like me. They are ancient, angry, and powerful. They will come, and they will see your world as prey." Jonas swallowed hard. "Then why give me the stone?" "Because you gave me something no one else did. Hope. You think I can stop them?" No, but we can. He looked at her, the faint glow of the stone casting strange patterns on her pale skin. And in that moment, Jonas Hale realized something terrifying and beautiful. This was no longer about orders or duty. This was about survival and trust, and the last, thin chance that kindness could change the course of fate. The lunar shuttle slid into the docking cradle beneath Earth's moon base with a quiet hiss, magnetic locks clamping down on the hull. Jonas stood beside Sareva, their shadows stretching long in the artificial corridor lights. She remained quiet, head lowered, as the security team surrounded them. Armed, armored, but visibly uneasy. Do not provoke them, Jonas said under his breath. I'm chained. I'm tired. I have no reason to fight, she replied. Unless they give me one. The soldiers led them to the inner sanctum of the Luna Archives, a facility few humans had ever seen, and even fewer truly understood. It was here that the oldest alien relics were kept, some locked behind force fields, some buried in stasis fields. All of them dangerous. They passed a transparent containment cell where a floating crystalline entity hummed softly. Sareva paused. That one's still alive, she whispered. You can tell. Jonas asked. She nodded once. Barely. It remembers its own star dying. Before he could respond, the doors opened into a vast chamber, the core of the archives. Scientists and analysts in sleek gray uniforms turned toward them as Director Voss arrived. We'll begin immediately, Voss said, ignoring Jonas and addressing only the lead technician. Full resonance scans. Measure everything. The stone, her biology, even his neural links. You mean me? Jonas asked, stepping forward. Voss didn't flinch. You've been exposed. You've been marked. Jonas glanced at Sareva, who simply closed her eyes. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Neither do you, Voss replied coldly. They strapped Sareva into a standing harness, medical arms circling her slowly, scanning her from every angle. At first, she tolerated it, stoic, silent. But when the resonance beams touched the stone still tethered to her aura, she winced. A ripple of energy cracked through the room. The lights flickered. Machines stuttered. One technician stumbled back. It's reacting, he cried. Resonance levels spiking beyond baseline. What's happening? Jonas asked, moving forward. She's calling, Sareva said, voice suddenly sharp. They heard it. Far above, beyond Earth's gravity well, two dark ships emerged from FTL distortion. They were shaped like crescent blades, blacker than space, and utterly silent. They bore no flags, no signals, only intent. The first fired a pulse toward the moon. Warning. On Luna, the seismic alarms blared. Sarava's eyes snapped open. It's begun. Shut down the scans. Jonas yelled. No. Voss barked. We're on the verge of something. The next pulse struck the outer hull. Shields shimmered and buckled. Sirens wailed across the base. Jonas reached Sareva and broke the restraints manually. She collapsed into his arms, her breath shallow. They'll kill everything, she rasped. Then stop them. Sareva looked up at him. Only if you give me permission. I don't own you. You hold the Heartstone. You command its bearer. Give me the right. Jonas looked around at the chaos. The soldiers. The fear. Voss's cold silence. He pressed the stone into her palm. Then defend us. In a surge of energy, Sareva rose, floating off the floor. Her cloak billowed unnaturally, eyes glowing violet. The air grew heavy, thick with unseen pressure. The security team raised their rifles. One fired. The bolt froze in midair. Jonas stepped between her and the others. Stand down. But it was too late. She released the energy, not to kill, but to reveal. Visions tore through their minds. Memories of ancient wars, alien empires, dead sons, and bloodlines cursed with eternal hunger. And through it all, a thread of resistance. Of survival. Of choice. Sareva turned toward Jonas. We must go to orbit. Now. How? She smiled weakly. I have one last gift. The containment crystal, still alive, lit up. Its hum became a pulse, then a song. A hidden chamber in the archive walls creaked open, revealing an old transport, sleek and alien in design. An arc ship, she said. From before the fall. Jonas helped her aboard. As the archive crumbled from another orbital blast, the arc ship surged forward, breaking through the moon's atmosphere like a bullet of light. The two hostile ships turned to intercept. Inside, Sareva stood tall again, energy coursing through her veins. "Hold on," she said. "This is going to change everything." Outside, the Ark ship released a cascade of spectral energy, cutting one enemy vessel in half with no visible weapon. The second ship attempted to flee. Sareva whispered, "No mercy." The ship folded space around it, drawing the fleeing attacker into a prison of light, and then crushed it with gravity folds. Jonas stared out the viewport, awestruck. "You could have done that at any time?" "No," she said. "Only with your trust." They drifted in orbit, above a wounded moon and a frightened Earth. Sareva looked down. "Your people will fear me." "Maybe," Jonas replied. "Or maybe they'll finally realize we need each other." She turned to him. "We're not so different, you and I." "What happens now?" he asked. "I follow your lead," she said. "You gave me back my name, my strength, my hope." And as the stars opened once more, the Ark ship set course, not for war, but for diplomacy with teeth. The Ark ship coasted through the outer solar orbit, its hull glimmering with ancient energy. Jonas sat in the pilot's chair, though he wasn't flying. The ship responded to Sarava's will, to her presence, and perhaps now, to his as well. He looked over at her, seated cross-legged in a circle of silver light. Her body hovered slightly above the floor, eyes closed, lips moving in a whisper. Not incantations, but commands to an ancient network. She was awakening something far beyond their understanding. "Where are we going?" he asked. Her eyes opened. "To speak with the ones who still watch. The architects. The who. They were the builders of the star lanes, of the deep vaults, of the stone you touched. And they haven't spoken in 1,000 years. But they heard your choice." Jonas leaned back, uncertain. "You're telling me I woke up space gods?" She tilted her head. "No. You reminded them humanity exists, and that we might be worthy allies or threats." The silence that followed was interrupted by the ship's tone shifting. The viewport swirled, revealing not stars, but a chamber carved into reality itself. A sphere of ancient code hovered ahead, massive, humming, with layered rings spinning in geometric harmony. It pulsed with awareness. Sareva stood. "They've granted us audience." The ship slowed and opened its inner sanctum. Jonas followed Sareva down a long corridor until they emerged into a circular chamber of light and silence. A projection of a being appeared, tall, faceless, shimmering like mist caught in lightning. "Why have you brought a human?" it asked in a voice that wasn't sound but thought. Sareva stepped forward. "Because this one chose mercy over fear, dignity over dominance, and because he touched the heartstone without being consumed. Few have done so and lived." Jonas exhaled slowly. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I just couldn't watch her suffer anymore. That is rare, even among your kind." Another being appeared, then another. Soon, the chamber was filled with entities, projections of ancient intelligence, weighing, watching. The vampires were exiled, their hunger cursed. "Do you believe this one deserves freedom?" Jonas looked to Sareva, then back to the architects. She never asked to be born into that curse, but she chose not to be ruled by it. "I think that deserves more than chains." Silence. Then, a soft thrum rippled across the chamber. "What would you ask, human?" Jonas blinked. "Me? You have bridged an old wound. You may ask once." Sareva turned to him, eyes wide. "Be careful. They twist words." Jonas hesitated. 100 selfish thoughts crossed his mind. Power, safety, even returning home. But he looked at her and spoke clearly. "I ask that no one be punished for their origin, only their choices." The chamber pulsed, paused, and then slowly dimmed. The architects began to vanish, one by one. "Then let it be so. The hunger will not define them, but their actions will." Sareva sank to her knees, tears forming. "I never thought I'd live to see it." Back on the Ark ship, the lights changed, warmer, calmer. Sareva stood taller now, lighter, as if a weight centuries old had finally lifted. "You just rewrote my people's fate," she whispered. "No," Jonas said, smiling. "We did." As Earth's moon came back into view, Jonas looked out, uncertain of what lay ahead. Sareva rested a hand on his shoulder. "You've changed me, not just by kindness, but by belief. If the universe is to survive, it will need more humans like you. And more people like you," he said, "free to choose their path." They sent a signal to Luna Base. This time, no weapons were raised. The president of Earth herself came on screen. Jonas, she said, you and your guest are cleared to land, and we're very eager to hear what you've seen. As the Ark ship descended back to the world that had once feared her, Sareva smiled. Do you think they'll accept me now? Jonas grinned. They'd better. You've got one hell of a story to tell. The Ark ship touched down, and the future opened wide.